Friends, I welcome you to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It is not difficult for you, but it is pleasant for me. And we're starting. All the characters in the story who enter into intimate relationships are over 18 years old. Excavators are wonderful tools. The diesel roared, black smoke billowed from the exhaust pipe. The arms stretched out and plunged into the ground. Thomas sat on the seat, trying to look through his tears, continuing to scratch the ground with the claws of the excavator. 20 minutes of backhoe work and the hole was dug. His true love, Marisol, the only woman he had ever had any feelings for, was ready. Grave's grave was ready. The grave of her lover was ready. They deserved each other. The betrayal started the same way as any other. Quentin, call me Q, was a school bully, and she was a shy, quiet girl who blossomed at university. Thomas had always loved her. Q had fun in high school. The story begins the same way as any other. Thomas and Marisol were friends in high school and then went to the same university, and because they knew each other before they had a close friendship turned into love. After graduating from university, both managed to find jobs in the city, located about an hour's drive from the small town where they grew up. Despite the fact that these two worked hard and developed their careers, they never considered other potential partners. They felt that each of them had found their one true love. 2 years after graduating from high school, they got married in a lavish ceremony in their hometown. For years after the wedding, Marisol started staying late at work and going out for a drink twice a week. When Thomas asked if he could join her and her friends to chat, she told him sharply that she needed to relax without him right now. 3 weeks after he was allowed to enjoy his wife's beautiful body for the last time, he ended an early business meeting on the other side of town. Thomas decided that he would go home and cook his own lunch instead of eating in the company cafeteria. This decision led to a series of catastrophic events. A large pickup truck parked in the driveway horrified Thomas. The truck belonged to Q, the school bully who made his life hell. Worse, at a corporate picnic a year earlier, Marisol introduced them to each other again, saying that Q was working on a loading dock and ranting about how big and strong Q was. Thomas was furious when Marisol gave Q all her attention all day. When Thomas and Marisol returned home, the screaming started. She put him in an awkward position, and he was angry with her for several weeks. Marisol called him a kid and said she chooses her own friends, and if he doesn't like it, he can kiss her ass. For the rest of the summer, they barely spoke, and making love was just a pleasant memory. Marisol talked to her mother, sisters, and friends, and was shocked when everyone sided with Thomas. Why couldn't they understand? Her friendship with Q was just fun. She never mentioned the fondling on the dance floor when they went out for drinks, the secret touching in the office when they thought no one was watching. Q was her big and strong man. Thomas was her husband. They both occupied an important place in her life. Q could have given her big, strong children, and Thomas could have raised wonderful people out of them. The second misfortune for Thomas that lunch break was that he heard two lovers in his bed. "When are you going to tell this nerd about us?" "I'm not going to. You'd be a terrible father. So I'm going to start making love to him again and tell him in 2 weeks that I'm pregnant and that he's going to be a dad." "Well, I'll still be able to get you, won't I? Anytime you want, you can have me, as long as you don't endanger my marriage." "Why would you worry about marrying that weakling? I still love him. I just don't respect him. In addition, he has the potential to make millions where you will always be a simple worker. Financially, he will surpass you. But you can be sure, wherever it matters, you are my man." Thomas didn't immediately realize where he was until he found himself in front of his gun safe, holding a Sig Sauer P2 23.40 caliber. He stared at the gun and tucked it into the waistband of his trousers. He pulled out the taser he'd bought for Marisol. She immediately told him that she did not need a weapon and returned it, telling him with a nasty grin on his face, "Try to be brave." He was brave, of course, so he climbed the stairs and did not hesitate to enter the master bedroom. Marisol leaned over the edge of the bed. Q was on her ass. Both looked shocked and then burst into vicious, cutting laughter. "Welcome home, weakling. She's mine now. Move your stuff to one of the other bedrooms when you get home tonight and play the fool, and I'll kick your ass every day, like I did in high school. Honey, it's for the best. Don't create problems, and we'll find a compromise that you'll like, I promise." Marisol smiled, pierced and still. Thomas shot Q in the chest. His body tensed, and Q collapsed to the floor. He lay motionless, absolutely motionless. No movement, no breathing. If they had acted quickly and given him artificial respiration, he could have survived. Thomas didn't move. Marisol looked at her lover and screamed. She turned to help him, but Thomas hit her with a taser. Marisol lost consciousness. Thomas realized that the matter was taking a serious turn and quickly came up with a risky plan. Bury the bodies. He taped Marisol's mouth shut. Thomas used Quentin's belt to tie her legs and her own scarf to tie her hands behind her back. Running out to the garage, he pulled out the plastic wrap he used when painting the house, wrapped Q's dead body in plastic, and dragged the 200-pound man down the stairs to the garage. Thomas rummaged through the dead man's trousers in search of the truck keys, backed the truck into the garage, and with the help of a lift, managed to lift the big man into the back. He hoisted Marisol onto his shoulder and carefully placed her next to him in the back of the truck. Covering the corpse and the unconscious woman with debris left over from recent repairs, Thomas took the truck out of the garage and parked his car there. The 40-minute drive to the countryside near the small town where they spent their youth seemed like an eternity. Thomas was afraid that he would be caught with a corpse in a truck and he would go to prison for the rest of his life. He finally reached the remote area overlooking the valley that he and Marisol had bought with the money they received as a wedding gift. The excavator he had rented to begin building the foundation for the country house that had once been their shared dream was parked and ready to start work. The diesel roared, and Thomas moved to the far end of the site, away from home, and began to dig. The excavator has a feature called Extend-A-Hoe, which allowed the articulated arm to dig straight down 16 feet. When the pit was finished, he walked over to the pickup truck, backed it up to the pit, and getting out of it almost collided with the smiling face of Deputy Bill Genovese, his nearest neighbor and best friend. "What are you doing, son?" Bill asked. Thomas lost consciousness. Bill checked to make sure his friend was okay, and then looked into the back of the truck. He was shocked to see Marisol, and even more so to see the bastard Quentin, but he was even more shocked to see them both naked. Quentin was dead, and Marisol was recovering. So Bill took out the makeshift gag and gave her water. "Do you want to tell me what happened here, Marisol?" "Thomas is crazy. He attacked Q and me, and then shot Q. Is he okay?" Marisol asked. "Who, Q or Thomas?" "Q, of course." Thomas shuddered and came to his senses when Bill splashed water in his face. "Everything is ready. They are lying in a pit with a bag of lime. Tomorrow I will take my tractor and turn this piece of land into a vegetable garden. But today we need to burn this pickup truck somewhere. Then I'll take you home so you can clean up. Tomorrow we will start digging the foundation for the hut, and you will call Marisol on her mobile and work number to find out why she did not return home. In 2 days, when no one can find her, you'll file a missing persons report." Thomas was able to speak. "Oh, Marisol was alive when I put her in the back of the truck. I was going to scare her and then give her another chance. I talked to her. She didn't deserve a second chance," Bill said.